Let's jump right into this explainer, and honestly, crack the code on keeping a 50-gallon Goldfish tank crystal clear, without entirely emptying your wallet. Look, if you keep goldfish, you already know they're incredibly rewarding, but man, do they bring a very specific, very messy set of challenges to your aquarium. Today we're going to explore exactly how to find the top 3 budget filters for a 50-gallon goldfish tank, giving you top-tier water quality without spending a total fortune.
So here's a massive tension in the hobby right now: the giant price tag of premium filters versus what your tank actually needs. When you start researching filtration for larger setups, like a 50-gallon tank, you'll immediately see recommendations for these massive high-end canister filters. And yeah, they can easily cost upwards of $300. Now, those units are undeniably fantastic pieces of engineering, for sure. But the truth is, you absolutely don't have to spend that kind of cash to keep your goldfish healthy and your water pristine.
The crucial point here is that we're dealing with a super heavy bioload. Underfiltering will quickly put your fish at serious risk. Goldfish are, quite literally, little waste factories compared to small community species like neon tetras or rasboras. Think about it. A 50-gallon tank with a couple of chunky goldfish needs a totally different game plan than a 50-gallon filled with tiny, low-waste fish. If you underestimate their bioload, well, toxic levels can spike to incredibly dangerous concentrations in literally just a day or two.
Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the messy goldfish problem, touch on the science of filtration, and then jump into our top 3 picks: the Marineland BioWheel, the Tetra Whisper IQ, and the Polar Aurora Canister. Then we'll wrap it all up with the final verdict. Let's get into it. Section 1, the messy goldfish problem and how we manage all that heavy waste.
Okay, so the golden mathematical rule of thumb in the aquarium hobby is that your filter must turn over the entire tank volume roughly 4 times an hour. That means a 50-gallon tank needs an absolute bare minimum flow rate of 200 gallons per hour, or GPH. But, and this is a huge catch, for messy goldfish, you always want to oversize that number. See, manufacturers usually rate their filters at 0 head pressure, with absolutely no media inside. Once you actually pack it with sponges and biomedia, that flow rate drops significantly. So for goldfish, 200 GPH isn't the goal. It's the absolute baseline we need to beat.
Moving on to Section 2, the science of filtration. Before we pick a filter, we gotta understand how they actually process waste.
You really need to know these 3 terms, mostly because biological filtration is the absolute lifesaver for heavily stocked tanks. So mechanical filtration, that's the physical sponge catching the visible fish poop and debris. Chemical filtration, like activated carbon, pulls out odors and discoloration. But biological filtration, man, that is where the magic happens. That is the colonization of beneficial bacteria on porous media that literally eats the invisible, highly toxic ammonia your goldfish are constantly excreting.
Building on that, Dr. Morin's research shows exactly how this highly toxic, uncharged ammonia is chemically broken down and ionized in the water. It totally proves why biological media surface area is just so critical. You see, free ammonia is a polar compound. When your goldfish produces waste, this dangerous stuff enters the water. But the beneficial bacteria living in your filter act as biological engines, converting that nasty ammonia into nitrites and then into much safer nitrates. Basically, the more surface area your filter media has, the more bacteria you can house, and the safer your goldfish will be.
To house all that media, we're going to be looking at 2 main styles today. First, hang-on back filters, or HOBs, which are insanely easy to maintain and just hang right on the rim of your tank. Second, canister filters, which sit hidden beneath your tank and offer massive media capacity and raw power. The good news? Both styles can absolutely crush it with goldfish waste as long as they hit our flow rate and biological capacity requirements.
All right, Section 3. Let's reveal our first budget pick: the Marineland BioWheel Power Filter.
The Marineland Penguin 350 pushes a massive 350 GPH, blowing right past our 200 GPH minimum. Now, here's the issue with traditional hang-on back filters. Usually, when you throw away the dirty filter cartridge, you're accidentally throwing away a huge chunk of your beneficial bacteria, right? But this filter features a patented wet-dry BioWheel. This little wheel sits right at the water outlet, constantly spinning, getting exposed to both water and oxygen, which supercharges aerobic bacteria growth. It perfectly preserves your biological bacteria, even when you toss the disposable cartridges. And for under $40, it is an absolute workhorse for messy tanks. Let's move to Section 4 and check out pick number 2, the Tetra Whisper IQ60. So the Tetra Whisper IQ60 delivers a really solid 300 GPH while remaining, well, whisper quiet.
It actually features a sound shield that keeps the operating noise under 40 decibels. To put that into perspective, that's basically the ambient volume of a quiet library. But the real game changer here is the self-priming submerged motor. If you've ever had the power flicker while you were at work and came home to a dead filter because it lost its siphon, yeah, you know that sheer panic. This filter keeps its pump totally submerged down in the water, meaning it restarts automatically every single time the power comes back on. It's a remarkably reliable option for right around $50.
On to Section 5. Let's bust the myth that all canister filters cost an arm and a leg with pick number 3, the Polar Aurora Canister. The Polar Aurora, which you might also see sold under the Sun brand as the HW302, is essentially a simple, quiet plastic bucket with a pump, but it gives you premium biological media capacity for around $50. It pushes 265 GPH, which beautifully satisfies our turnover rule. Now, because it doesn't have the fancy microchips or self-evacuating air gimmicks of the $300 models, it relies entirely on pure brute force simplicity. You get 3 massive trays to pack with chief sponges and ceramic rings, letting you house a totally gigantic colony of ammonia-eating bacteria. Plus, since the whole motor is enclosed in a canister beneath your tank, it is shockingly quiet.
Which brings us to Section 6, the final verdict. Let's figure out which filter is best for you.
I'd highly recommend grabbing a quick screenshot of this slide. This matrix right here proves you can easily beat the 200 GPH minimum and handle messy Goldfish for roughly $50. The Marineland gives you maximum flow and that brilliant bio-wheel. The Tetra Whisper IQ, that gives you total peace of mind with ultra-silent operation and that self-priming tech. And the Polar Aurora gives you the massive hidden biological capacity of a canister filter, just without the premium brand price tag.
So it all boils down to this. Do you prefer the simple maintenance of a hang-on back or the hidden power of a canister? Really think about which workflow fits your life best. Canister filters hold way more media, but yeah, they take a bit more effort to haul to the sink and clean out every month. Hang-on backs are incredibly fast to service, but they're sitting right there on the back of your glass for everyone to see. Which routine will you actually stick to? Because at the end of the day, the most expensive filter in the world is completely useless if you never clean it. Are you ready to rethink your tank maintenance? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy fish keeping!